very, very pleased to be here today after 15 years. I just like Nilmini, every 10 minutes I'm like, I'm so happy to be here, Olga. So Olga is probably already so sick of me. But anyway, so I'm here to talk to you about one of the most precious things to my heart that I've been working on for the last 7 years. And I have many more things to say, but maybe I'll get invited again and I'll do that later on. A big thanks from me to Rich Lyons, Dean Lyons, for actually doing such an eloquent job in putting out, as he calls them, the principles. But even when I applied 17 years ago to Berkeley, I could really see those values speaking to me. And that's why I applied in the first place to Berkeley. And when I was leaving, not only was I pregnant for my wonderful son here, but I was also, yeah, he's right here sitting, and he's like, Mom, no. But I was also very happy because I knew that whatever I felt within myself, it was really resonating here with everything that I learned. I had a chance to, cross-check it with Berkeley as well. So I was happy that I left with these values. And as I was introduced very well, thank you, I worked for the government for many years thereafter, being true to my values. And later on, where I am at now, I'm very pleased that luckily, once again, I'm paired with very strong values. And I get to do this wonderful job of being a CSR coordinator, which is really fulfilling. And I do it for Koç. It's a really big company in Turkey. You can Google it. It's the locomotive of Turkey, not just economically, but also in terms of social development. It's like a legacy. And Turkey needs such companies because we are an interesting panorama, not just visually, but also in terms of its intrinsic qualities. Like, we are the 17th largest economy in the world, but we rank 90th, unfortunately, in the Human Development Index. So there is a lot to do in terms of value creation, shared value. Anybody familiar with the Michael Porter concept of shared value? Well, you were probably there at Laura Tyson's class. She talked a lot about that session, I mean. Today I'm going to be talking to you about creating shared value through inspiration. And as I said, there's a lot of room to do that in countries like Turkey. But it's also a very good place to do good deeds because you can basically choose a subject where you feel that you have the specialty, the strength, and the possibility to scale, and then you can see it unfold. I will give you an example. When I joined Koç, they had already decided to commit to an area of concern, not just for Turkey, but also for the rest of the world, and that's a subject that you talked about in your 5 minutes TED talk, but this is being not educated, not trained, and not employed. And this is a big problem for youth because we see it in Turkey for more than 20%. It's 16% in the US, and it's unfortunately going to be a problem in the next 100 years. And 66% of CEOs talk about this in a McKinsey study as the biggest area of challenge for their businesses is that they will not be getting skills that they need. So imagine that, and imagine generations that are not being built for either jobs or for life. So this is the area we chose, but the answer was actually not so difficult. Building skills, right? It's very evident. But it's not a sexy subject. So it was the same thing for Turkey, even though there are countries like Germany who are doing a very good job of it. We did import their laws and regulations. Unfortunately, we didn't import the mindset to come with it. So people thought that it was basically a dead end to go that way. My task was to actually take it from a dead end to smiling faces like this. And of course, that's not an easy task to do. Luckily, I had the principles. So I used the question of status quo, like you did, to bring the subject from a macro level and take it from a different to a dimension where it could actually be solved, right? And how would you do that, where there's a lot of bad public perception, is that bring it to an individual level. So I said, you can do it if you feel empowered, if you are empowered. And I was, of course, talking to the youth in Turkey, but I was standing right here, and the youth, how could I reach the youth? We started talking to the companies in the coach group, which is many, many companies, and we set up this task force. But the problem was that we still didn't know how to get from here to the youth. Then I started playing with the idea of employee volunteerism, which is 5% in Turkey, not a common trait like you do have in the US. And it basically did not exist at Koç. So from here to there, we had to make a big leap. Luckily, we had people who were inspired with this effort, and through the work of this task force, we were able to create shared value by giving space, by inspiring people, and at the end, watching the results come in. As a result, we had in the 7-year course an increase of 30% in the public perception in terms of the positive media coverage we received. We also had 5 academic reports that fed into the national strategy of education. But more important than that, we had paired with 264 schools in 81 cities, and we had already reached thousands. After 7 years, we saw that we could have more companies than the Koç companies, and luckily we were able to export the program. Concurrently, we were chosen even by Prince Charles as one of the best programs for youth employment. But what struck me most was when I had my inspiration come back to me in the name of Merve, whom I actually interviewed for Berkeley. It turns out that she was one of the volunteers who worked with the youth in vocational educational high schools. So we had actually gone beyond me, my team, Koç people, and the non-Koç companies to actually reach the youth there. And this is Merve. So thank you.